Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Fibre Co's Autumn Winter 23-24 launch party for our and make range. I'm Daphne and I'm here today with Becky. Becky Baker is the design project manager here at the Fibre Co. And I started the Fibre Co about 20 years ago. It's hard to believe it's been that long, but how are you doing, Becky?
I'm good, Daphne. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks very much for joining me today. Becky and I are going to walk you all through the designs in just a short minute. But before we get started, we'd love for you to just let us know where you're signing in from. It's always fun to see where everybody's coming from all over the world. And let us know what you're doing these days with your knitting or crafting life, or let us know what your summer was like. What did you do on your summer vacation? And hopefully you had a nice one. And if anyone's joining us from down under, well, what are you looking forward to in your summer vacation that's coming up? So it's really nice to be here with everybody. We have a few designs to walk through. We're really excited about it. And I think I can see a lot of people have joined, and maybe just another few seconds. And in the meantime, I'll start our slideshow so that we can get ready here. And just 1 second. Becky, can you believe we're here finally ready to share this? Do you remember when we first started talking about it?
Yeah, a year in the making, or more than a year in the making. So it's exciting.
Exactly, yeah. And it's always so confusing at the beginning. It's we have some ideas, we throw them all out there, we don't know the direction to go in, and then we say, oh, this is too much, we've got to scale it back, and somehow we end up with things that we're excited to do. We go off and do them, and then we reach this point where we get to share it with everybody, and it's really a lot of fun. Yeah. So okay, well, I think you can see from this image here, if you're in the right place or not, the and make launch party autumn winter 23-24 for the Fibre Co, and we're going to walk you through our designs. But what is and make? This is something that is a new range for the Fibre Co. It's a new range of 3 yarns, and they come in 3 different weights. They are natural fiber yarns, just like our regular luxury yarns, but we use fibers that are slightly more affordable so that more people can join in the fun using the Fibre Co yarns. And the pattern collection that we have for the and make range is geared towards being user-friendly. And because they're user-friendly, it's great for beginners. And it also gives a really kind of clean canvas for those who really know what they're doing to maybe embellish or elaborate or do other things with them. And we give options often in the patterns. And some of the patterns you can use in all 3 weights. And you're going to see in our collection this time that that's exactly what we've done with a couple of our designs. So these are the 3 weights here. One's a super bulky, one is an Aran weight, and one is a DK weight. The fiber blends are all a little bit different depending on what we were trying to achieve with that weight. And we'll dive into that in just a moment. Okay, but before we get started, really get started, some of you may have seen this in your invitation. We have prizes to give out today, and it's a simple game. If you've been with us before, it's easy to play. The game is just really counting these yarn balls that you see on the bottom of your screen. And there will be a poll question at the end of the presentation, and we'll put up the poll, and you'll need to have your pop-up blocker unblocked if you have one on. So whatever device you're using, just make sure that your pop-up blocker is disengaged for just this next hour that you're with us. And we'll put up a poll. If you count the balls, and I'll help you along the way. Anytime I'm tuned in and I see the ball, I'll say, oh, here's another ball. And in fact, this is your first ball. So go ahead and count this as number 1. We all start with the correct number of balls to begin with. And what can you win? Well, it will be one of these 3 designs. In fact, there'll be 3 prizes, and someone will win one of each of these. And these are 3 designs from the collection that we'll be going into. So just a reminder to make sure you put your answer in the poll question. Your pop-ups, you can't have pop-ups blocked for that. Don't put your answers in the chat. Now for Q&As throughout the presentation, just a little minor point here, just please put it in what is your Q&A section in Zoom rather than the chat. We do have someone monitoring the chat for us. Elisa from our team is in there monitoring the chat. Her name will show up as the Fibre Co. So if you have a question that comes up in there, she's going to look for it. Might be easier though if you can direct your questions to the actual Q&A part of Zoom, and we'll be sure to find it there, because sometimes things can move fast on the chat box otherwise. Because we'd love for you to tell us what you think of the designs as we go through them. And if you've had any experience with handmake or haven't, or just have any opinions about the designs, please share as we go along. So what do the designs look like? Let's get an overview here. There are 7, and they're across your screen here. And we're going to walk through each of these. And just before we do, though, I thought what would be fun to do is to take a look at our patterns, because I said they're user-friendly, but just what makes them user-friendly? Well, one thing is we have decided to use as little jargon as possible. And when we have to use jargon, we try to do the best job we can at explaining what they are. So I'm just going to share one of our patterns here so you can see. And what I'm going to share is actually a pattern in the collection this season. It's called the Rewind Cardi. So just scrolling down here, you can see there's little images that explain things, and links to find the yarn if you're looking for the yarn. And there are also links to tutorials, what is blocking, and there are going to be links to either videos or blog posts about how to do different things. Choosing your size, we have a really good tutorial on how to choose your size that's simple and taught in layman's terms for just ease, and the explanation of the abbreviations as well. And yeah, just more tutorials and illustrations throughout. And I think it's sometimes just having a little pictorial when you're learning a new technique or just getting to grips with exactly how something is done can be really helpful. And of course, you're always welcome to send in a request for assistance to our email. That's patternsupport@thefibreco.com to get assistance. So anyway, I hope this is helpful as we walk through the presentation. Just bear in mind that the patterns are going to be just as simple as we could make them. Right, Becky? Do you agree?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
A big departure from, say, when you're some of our other patterns where there's a lot of information to convey, a lot of different techniques and that sort of thing, where we have to be a little bit more precise concise with our language. So all right, so back to the presentation now, and let's go ahead and look at the very first design. The first design in the collection is called the All Stripes Sweater. There it is. And the All Stripes Sweater is designed by Sylvia Watts-Cherry, who's a real friend of the Fibre Co, a longtime friend and super designer that we've worked with in the past. And we wanted to have a nice, elegant, but relaxed drop shoulder sweater and allow the color palette within the All Stripes, within handmake to almost do some of the designing as well. And so we thought of Sylvia, and she was really the perfect designer for this. She got on board with us right away. What yarn is it knit? Oh, there was a yarn ball, by the way. I hope you all counted that one. It's actually been written, this pattern, so that you can knit it in any of the 3 weights of handmake. So on the left here, you see it in the super bulky weight, and the middle one is the Aran weight. And the one on the right side of your screen here is the DK weight. And the number of yarn balls that you use are shown there on your screen. But it's they all look a little bit different, I think, and not just the fact that we've used different colors, but the super bulky obviously has a thicker look to it, and with the DK having a much more drapey. So on a spectrum of not drapey to drapey, it would go from left to right there. Becky, what do you want to tell us about some of the early days and talking to Sylvia and her inspiration and how she came up with it, and then maybe move into some of the knitterly details?
Yes, perfect. So Sylvia's inspiration for this design, as with a lot of the handmade design, was to make a garment that beginners can make. And with colour being a really important design aspect for Sylvia, the stripe pattern, they've got up to 6 colours in each sweater. So you've got lots of different colour play there. The fabric is reverse stocking stitch, so it just gives that little bit extra texture because it's the purl side that you're seeing. And I think on the purl side, when you're doing stripes, you get a beautiful little transition because you get almost like the little dots like between each colour join. So it just looks a bit more textured and a bit more interesting than the stockinette side. So the construction for the all striped sweaters, they're worked in the round from the bottom up until the underarm divide, and then it's split and both work, the front and backs knitted separately. Stitches are cast off to shape the neck and shoulders, and the shoulder seams are joined with a mattress stitch, and we've got tutorials for that. If you are more advanced knitter, advanced beginner knitter, you could amend that to like a 3-needle bind off. Then the sleeve stitches are picked up in the round and worked top down. And then lastly, your neck band stitches are picked up in the round with the 2x2 ribbon. So we've got our knitterly details page after that. And our little schematic again just shows you what I was talking through with the knitting direction, bottom up for the body and then top down for the sleeves. We've got 9 graded sizes, all with positive ease. You could size up if you wanted a sort of, the really oversized slouchy look. And you can see the stripes in a little bit closer details in this image. And they vary in different widths. We've got skinny stripes and thicker stripes. So you can see, you can just have, with the whole colour palette available, you could have so much fun with lots of different colour combinations in this one.
I totally agree, Becky. I really like the neckline of this. And one of the things I thought of too, because I also just like the overall shape of this pullover, is that because it's such a basic shape that if you didn't want to do multi-colors, you could just do it in one color, or you could do a color block where the bottom is one color, the top's another. And so it's such a versatile pattern. So it's totally doable as well. Yeah, I love it. I love the way it came out. And Sylvia was the perfect designer for it. Thank you, Sylvia. Good job. As always, we love working with you. I think this next design, Becky.
Another stripy one.
We did stripes again on this. And it's the Rainbow Lanthrow by our very own Becky Baker. And so, yeah, stripes are a theme, aren't they? But they've been a trend theme anyway, haven't they? It's not just the Fibre Co gone mad with stripes. It's the whole world maybe gone mad with stripes. And I've always been a fan of stripies. But we wanted to have something for the home, something for, could even be used as an oversized, kind of blanket type shawl wrapped around someone, as shown here at the lakeside. And but it's just a beautifully colored, great palette, well-chosen palette here. And it's in the super bulky. So, why don't we have a blanket in the DK weight? Well, because it's just not as cozy as it's going to be in the super bulky weight. And you can see here, these are the colors that go across this blanket. Now, Becky, I'll turn it over to you to talk about some of the inspiration you had for this, because this is really your design and your doing. So
yeah, perfect. Well, yeah, after all our brainstorming and our love of stripes this season, we wanted a really cozy blanket that was going to really just, as you said, showcase that warmth and snuggle of the super bulky. So I thought, right, okay, garter stitch, we could get that garter squish that you just love. That's going to be perfect. And then what could be a nice transition between the stripes. So there's just a little bit more interest there. So it's a little 2 rows of slip stitch, like what you would do with mosaic knitting, where you're knit one, slip one, and then on the other side you're slipping the exact same stitch. So you get that longer elongated slip stitch, and it just looks like the colors sort of touch and go into the next one before the next one starts. So I think it gives that repeat, I don't know, just kind of harmonized repeat between the colors. For the construction, it's flat, one piece from one end to the other, and it's the all over garter stitch, and the color changes are every 8 rows. I said that the 2 rows of slip stitches in between, and there's the edges are kept really neat with a slip stitch edging as well, so it just gives it like a really nice frame. It's our knitted details. It's one size, 90 centimeters by 119 centimeters, or 35.5 inches by 47.5. You could make it even longer. You know, you just add more yarn and just keep repeating the pattern. It's the same pattern that repeats. I think, well, it was 6 colors in there. Was that right? 6 or 5?
5, I think.
5 colors. Yeah.
5. And to me, like when you were saying about how the slip stitching, blends it, I was thinking, bright yellow and hot pink or red, I think, or lime green. Somehow you don't think about blending those 2 colors together, but this definitely allows you to go from one to the next without it being so harsh. And it just feels like these colors are truly meant to go together. In fact, the whole palette goes together, but in a certain way. But this is a fantastic way to, help that along.
Yeah, I think so. And it also makes the design like reversible as well. And because this image here actually shows the underside of it. So with it being a wrap blanket, you want both sides to look pretty. So that technique works really well for a reversible.
Yeah. I agree. Wow, good. So that's the Rainbow Land throw. Thank you for that beautiful design, Becky. The next one up is the rewind cardi. Now, this is what we showed you the example of the pattern, and the designer is Holli Yeoh. And I think I saw in the chat that Holli is here on the webinar. So say hi to Holli, everyone. And I thank you, Holli, for doing such a good job with this. We have worked with Holli over the years on different designs, and she certainly didn't disappoint with this one. Oh, by the way, here's a yarn ball, everyone. So make sure you add this down to your list of yarn balls that you're counting. And again, this one is one that we have created the pattern for all 3 weights. And then we threw in a 4th option, which is for the Aran weight. We've written instructions for this color block version, and that's the one you see on the far right there. So yeah, super cozy. The pockets just make it kind of cute. The most wearable thing. I live in cardigans in the wintertime myself, just because I love the idea that if I'm going to get a little bit hot, you can just open the buttons, and then if I'm not going to get hot, which is kind of most days around here, leave the buttons closed. But here you see it from left to right in the super bulky, middle is Aran, and on the right is the DK weight. Let's have you take it from here, Becky, and talk to us about the, some of the input we had from Holli about the design and the brief that we gave her and what we ended up with. The customization. I wanted to show you maybe the customization first before. Yeah, this is first. So, okay. This is the customization that I mentioned. In the Aran weight, we've written it up so you can use all these different colors, and you can choose your own different color combinations, but this was what we decided to do. And we just thought it would be a fun way to customize. And oftentimes in our handmade patterns, we have done that very thing. There's a solid color version, and then there's a color block version, or a wide stripe version, or a narrow stripe version, just to mix it up and also learn new techniques about changing colors and that sort of thing. So I'm sorry, Becky, now over to you to tell us a little bit more about the design in depth and some of the input we got from Holli and the and her putting this design together for us.
Sure. Well, yeah, Holli was brilliant to work with on this design. We wanted, the slouchy boyfriend sort of fit with this one, that boxy, oversized look. And Holly knew just exactly what we needed and brought her knitting expertise to it, so that we could get, you know, techniques and everything in there as well, because it is on the stockinette stitch pattern, but there's, you know, it's a great first cardigan project for learning. If you've never knitted one before, great opportunity to learn techniques like adding a button band, shaping the button band for the v-neck, adding buttonholes, knitting pockets, you know, your 3 needle cast off for the shoulders. So it's, you know, it's not going to be too much to all do at the same time, because you've got your, you know, you can do your knit and purl, and then you can focus on learning the construction techniques part of it. So that's what I really love about this one. It's a really good sort of learning pattern. I've sort of touched on most of the construction there, but I'll just add in the other bits. It's knit flat in one piece seamlessly from the bottom to the underarms, and then divided in the front and back are worked separately. And the shoulders have got short rows in them, so again another technique to learn, and joined with the 3 needle cast off. That then means the sleeve stitches can be picked up and worked around top down, and the button band is picked up and worked back and forth with increases for shaping the v neckline. And then lastly, the 2 cute little patch pockets are knit and sewn on. So that's another thing, if you've not done pockets as well, great chance to learn that. So knitterly details, it's 9 sizes again, or graded 9 sizes with positive ease. And our schematic shows what I've just gone through about bottom up and then top down. So yeah, and you can also have fun with the buttons as well. You could customize it with different buttons, fun ones. Like, I had a lot of fun picking the buttons for these and matching it to the colors of a yarn, and, you know, deciding. I did buy a lot of buttons and picked what ones I liked, had them all lying on top. But yeah, you could go really abstract and have a completely different color. So yeah, you can have a lot of fun with that. And your pockets, you could do different colored pockets. And like with the color block one, we had the whole button band in a different color. So I think there's a lot of room for exploring with this one, I think.
No, I agree. Yeah, I already said cardigan. I live in cardigans, and sometimes there's some beautiful ones when you look at patterns online and such, and we see them all, you know, all over. But sometimes what's really lacking is a simple cardigan, and one that is so easily worn all the time. And this one is definitely that for me. So it's yeah. So hopefully this is one for the needles, depending on your favorite yarn weight. Well, let's go ahead and see what's next on the lineup here. We have a hat. We have the Jagged Ridge beanie hat. That's right. This is Teti Lutsak. And yeah, early days, Becky, I remember we had kind of like a debrief on what we did last year. And we had a hat last year when we launched the range. Yeah. And we came up with a very basic hat that we called the Warm and Easy hat. And that one was written for all 3 of the weights. Yep. And it was just very, very basic hat. And we taught a hat knitting class on it. It was designed by Kate Atherley, wasn't it? And Kate taught a hat class for us. And I think it was last November. And it was really great because I think we created some hat knitters. And so this year we said, well, we want to do more with hat, but let's just focus on the super bulky, and let's go with that kind of, you know, on trend look that we've been seeing, which is beanies, but, you know, beanies that, you know, have a little bit of structure to them and have some weight to them. So that's why we were, I think, early days thinking about the super bulky. And we looked around and we just love Teti's work. If you don't know her work, definitely check her out on Ravelry. Her photography is gorgeous and very inspiring. And, you know, I want to knit everything that she's ever designed. You know, it's really that nice. And so when we approached her about doing the hat, well, Becky, I'll let you tell more about it. But, oh, by the way, guys, count this yarn ball here into the mix. And here you can see we had it knit in 3 colors. This is not knit in the 3 different weights because we've only done this pattern in the super bulky. There's lots of room to do more hats in the future, but here just to show you the look on 3 different beauties in different colors, a neutral and a couple of colorful ones. But I'll just turn it over to you from here, Becky, to tell us a little bit about, you know, Teti's inspiration and maybe a little bit about her, because she was really known to you more than me when we were looking for the designer for this hat. So tell us the story.
Sure. Well, Teti's given us a really nice quote for her inspiration on this design. And she says, "The yarn usually tells me what it wants to be. Some yarns ask for intricate lace or cables, others show themselves best in simple combinations of knits and purls. My favorite part of this design is the magic that happens when you fold up the brim." So that's a pair that sort of sums it up. It's a really perfect to see her inspiration where she got that, because we wanted a ribbed hat. And, you know, when we were designing and coming up with things, we were like, we just know that we want a ribbed hat, but we need it to still be interesting, and what can we do that's different? So yeah, I'd worked with Teti a few times before and on hat design, so I thought, right, I know that she's just going to have a really good idea for a ribbed hat. And yeah, she sent in 2 proposals and we loved both of them, but we went for this one in the end. So just to give a little on the construction, the brim is the 1x1 ribbon, and then the rest of the hat is the 3x3 ribbon. So when you turn up the brim, you get that contrast between the thicker ribbon and the thinner ribbon on the brim. So I think it just looks really good. It looks really modern. It's a great fit, and you can wear it, you know, if you wanted the kind of longer slouch, you can wear it. You don't need to fold the brim up, or you can shorten it and you can fold the brim up. So, as you know, to your own preference. But yeah, I think it's just a really lovely hat, and it works so good for this yarn.
Yeah, I agree. And what I like about the fact that, you know, the 1x1 is on the brim is that it gives it a different like depth than if it had all been the same, you know, of is the rest like a 3x3? Yes, 3x3.
3x3, yeah.
You know, where it would have sat right on top of each other. But this kind of just, it's almost as if it's so much more involved with just that simple change. So I think it's brilliant. And yeah. I can't believe we're saying so many things about a ribbed hat, but the other thing is about the shaping of it too. And then I think that in particular, like I'll just go back one slide, and you see it on 3 very different shaped heads, but how well this shape works to have it sit neatly on the heads just by adjusting where that brim goes, or to have it be a bit more slouchy. So I love it. It's my hat for sure.
Yeah, and it's graded for 6 different sizes as well. So if you want more of a fitted hat, and you know, we give all the head circumference measurements in the pattern, you know, you could size down, you could size up if you want more slouch. This one, I think this one was a size 5 possibly, so there's a bit more slouch in this one, and then the other ones would be a 4, and so you get a bit more of the negative ease. So yeah, I think, you know, you can pick your preference, and it's really versatile. I don't know if I mentioned on the other slide, but it's brim to crown and seamlessly in the round. So yeah, I've not knitted a hat for a long time, and I do need a new one for winter. So
I do too. I used to always knit us new hats for every season, and Ian, my husband, keeps reminding me he hasn't had a new hat for a couple of years, and he really hasn't. So I've got to get busy, and yeah, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the hat for us. Okay, cool. Oh, well, the next one's a real fun design too. So I'm excited to show everybody this one. This next design, again, is in the super bulky and makes super bulky. And we've got the flushed feet slippers, and Kate Atherley is back. So Kate and feet and hats go together with the Fibre Co. So Kate Atherley has worked with us quite a bit. And one of the designs she did for us was the one sock design that's really popular in our amble yarn. And so when we were early days thinking about having something in this collection for feet, we thought, well, let's go back to Kate. She's done this proud so far with feet. So this is where we ended up, the flush feet, a little bit of a tongue twister there. Nice texture on these, isn't it? And super easy to just slip on and keep the feet warm in the winter time, and the cute little embellishments. Depending on your size, it's going to take between 1 and 2 balls of the and make super bulky. And I haven't really been paying attention to telling you guys about the yarns themselves. And Make Super Bulky is 100% Highland wool. That is a breed that is raised in the highlands of Peru, in where the yarn is actually made. So this is 100% wool, whereas the Aran weight is 50-50 wool and alpaca, and the DK weight is the Highland wool alpaca with just a little bit of linen in there to give it some crispness, and also it helps it be a little bit on the lightweight side and adds a little texture. So sorry, I think I've been missing those details out, but anyway, so these are the flushed feet slippers. Over to you, Becky, to tell us a bit more about the design and how it comes together.
Yeah, I've got another little designer quote here from Kate. It says, because my feet get very, very cold. It's not the only reason I got serious about knitting, but it's one of the key reasons. I love my hand knit woolly socks and slippers, and these slippers in the chunkiest and softest and loveliest wool are designed to keep your feet comfy and warm too. So
that's really so Kate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really lovely. So yeah, these are they're so adorable. The flush feet slippers, they're worked in garter stitch and flat in one piece, starting from the toe. The heel seam is created using a 3-needle cast off, and to close up the toe, there's a little small seam worked. Then there's 3 embellishment options provided in the pattern. There's the simple pom-pom that you can see in the pink, and there's a crocheted flower. That's the one on the far left, and then there's the little crocheted button in the middle. So if you're not comfortable with crochet, the pom-pom, that's a really fun and easy option. But if you're feeling adventurous, there's full guidance in the pattern how to make the little flowers and the buttons. So yeah, my mum, shout out to my mum, she did the little buttons and the little flowers for the slippers. And yeah, she was like, I don't know if I'll be able to do them. And I was like, well, let's test the instructions. We've written, it's all written out, and there's diagrams, and yeah, so she had good fun making them for us.
Mom Becky Baker to the rescue again. She's helped us on so many projects, hasn't she?
Yes, all the little bits and pieces I sort of outsourced over. So yes, as you can see, the seam is on the front. But don't worry if you're new to seaming, or you're worried that your seam doesn't look that neat, because it's covered up with the little embellishments, and you could make them bigger if you wanted. You could have huge big pom-pom or a big flower. So you can adjust them as you needed. There's 5 sizes. So yeah, be great Christmas presents for people for these ones. And yeah, I think that's me.
Yeah, I think we covered it. And I think you said the key thing there at the end, Christmas presents, because it really is a simple one, isn't it? Garter stitch and the easy bind off on the heel, and just a tiny little seam, and then fun. But you could sew a button on, you could
yeah, you could do a button. Yeah, that'd be really cute as well.
Make a big bow in a fun color, contrasting color. You could just do anything to embellish them. Think about the person you're gifting for and what they might like. But yeah, have fun with it. This is a cool one. Love the flush feet.
It'll be nice to see everybody's projects and how they do embellish them.
I love that part of it all. All right, next is the Trail Finder cowl, and this is in Make Aran. The Trail Finder cowl in the Aran weight, so it's the middle of the 3 weights that we currently have in Make, and it's 50-50 wool and alpaca. You can see from here it has a lot of nice structure to it, and I love a cowl that's going to keep me warm in the winter, rather than just flop down and leave my neck exposed. Because okay, there's great knitwears for being decorative and a little something to style your outfit, but a cowl to keep you warm, keep the neck warm. I mean, this one will do it. I was so pleased when it came in, because it was the first thing I did was try it on. I get so cold on this part of my body, as so many of us do. So I was like, will this test? Will this stand up? Oh, here's the yarn ball, everyone. Make sure you count this. So Kari-Helene Rane is the designer. Kari-Helene has worked with us. We have many designs that we've worked with Kari-Helene, and she's a wonderful designer, very experienced, very strong background in knitwear design, and she brings her Norwegian heritage to knitting, and it just kind of shines through. I'll just show you a little bit more about the yarn. We knit a second sample in this one in this lovely blue color, and it just shows there as the blend, the lovely blend that it is of alpaca and wool. 2 balls of handmade yarn is what you use to make this. So that's not bad. It's a very affordable project. And yeah, Becky, I think maybe Kari-Helene had something you have something to quote from Kari-Helene as well about her inspiration for this.
I do. Yep. Kari-Helene says, I was looking for simple ribbing pattern which will be easily accessible to beginner knitters and at the same time create enough knitting interest for more advanced makers. So it's, yeah, you can see that from the design. It's got the both ends of the cowl, they're trimmed with a nice little garter stitch border at the bottom, so you get that really neat finish. And then the vertical stripes, which is just a bit, I don't know, it's just slightly different being the vertical striping of it, and it's knit and purl stitches. So that where the name the trail finder came from when we were thinking about that, because you know it's sort of linear and it's a trail, and yeah, it seemed to be the perfect name for that one. And I love the color choice that we went for with both the samples. They've been the Wink and the Hot Like Me. That is just so a pop of color. It's perfect. And then our knitterly details on the next slide.
Here we go.
Yeah.
There it is.
So this one's another seamless in the round design, and the directions on our schematic, just one end to the other, and yes, one size. So you could also probably, if you're adventurous, you could do some color work between the stripes as well. You could change colors, and you could have vertical different colors. You could do color blocking, you could customize it, or you could just at the garter stitches at the top and bottom, they could be a different color. So the edges could be different from the middle. So you could have a bit of fun with color play as well.
Yeah, and speaking of color plays, our next design was nothing but color, wasn't it? and
yeah.
Winter walkway, the winter walkway set is designed by you, Becky, with that very concept of having fun with color in mind. So so this is another cowl, and you're going to dive in and tell us about all of the the way it's made and everything. But I just really, just like the other cowl, this one will totally stand up and keep your neck warm. And there's so many options for this. I can't help but think on this. Let's look at this is in Anne Make Aaron as well. And here you see that what we've done, and I'll let Becky really dive into the color, but I love the fact that we had this idea for how we could get the most out of yarns and colors, and so it was, if we had these 4 colors, like what could we create with 4 balls of yarn? And so this is what we were able to do. And I think it's just a really great way to say, how can we get the most out of it? And, something we never even talked about, but it really just struck me is that, if you're a member of a group that has colors, or, your favorite sports team or your school colors or something, this is kind of the perfect thing for that. Because I really think that almost all the colors in the Anne Make range, or, whatever school you went to or whatever your organization is, you'll probably find your colors in the Anne Make range to do something like that with, or you just, pick things to mix and match your favorite outerwear for the season. So yeah, the winter walkway set. Becky, tell us a little bit more about these, how they come together.
That's such a good point, Daphne, about knitting it in your team colors or like your school colors. I never really thought about that, but that is
neither till recently.
Yeah, I can really see that happening. So yeah, well, it all started off with, we wanted a headband. We wanted a winter headband with fun stripes. And then as I started designing, sort of realised quite quickly you could get a headband and still have a lot of yarn left. So it was then, could we do 2 headbands? And then there was still yarn. I was like, could we do 3 headbands? So it worked out that we could actually get the 3 headbands and the 3 matching neck warmers all out of 4 balls. So it was perfect. Excuse me, got a bit of a frog. But I didn't want it to just all be the same stripes. So, sorry, my throat was good.
I've passed my frog to you. I had a frog earlier. Have a good cough, Becky. You'll be all right. It's the season, though, isn't it? We're all kind of suffering from a little bit of something. Will she come back? Maybe one more sip. Get her giggling. No, maybe I shouldn't get her giggling. Oh dear.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's okay.
I muted myself there so that you didn't hear me trying to clear the frog out my throat. But yeah, the season, just like you're saying. So yes, we didn't want the same stripe pattern used over all 3. So there's different options in each different color. So yeah, it was just another one to play about with those endless stripe possibilities. Sorry, it's totally gone now.
Yeah.
And yeah, just a little bit about the construction. It's got a nice long tail tubular cast on and cast off at the top and the bottom, so it's got a decent stretch for getting over your head and over your neck. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm wanting to clear my throat now too, because
I know it's contagious, isn't it?
well, it is. We both had this starting before we got started, but I think
yeah,
we're doing all right though.
I know when you talk, it gets all dry, doesn't it?
That's the way it happens. Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, knit early details on this one. They're both knitted one piece in the round. Sorry, Daphne.
No, you're okay, Becky. I can maybe take it from here if you want to have a little bit of a cough and get clear. Yeah, knitted in the round, as you can see, and Becky already mentioned. Oh, here's a yarn ball, by the way, everybody. Go ahead and count that one. Becky already mentioned the cast on that is taught in the pattern that makes that edge. You see how neat that edge is. I really love that neat edge that we get from the way we've written that. And so it's just a simple in the round and one direction. And yeah, and just all 3 versions of this just use a different sequence of striping. In some cases it was to make sure we could get the most use of the yarn, but in other cases, you know, it was also the way we could get something really interesting looking, wasn't it, Becky?
Yeah, exactly.
How are you holding up?
it's coming and going, so apologies.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
All right. Well,
yeah, I do really love this one. And again, it's quite squishy. It's got that lovely squishy sort of texture to it. So yeah, it's good. And another beginner sort of learning technique about doing a jogless join when you're knitting in the round as well. So just another, if you've not changed your color work when working in the round, that's a good little small project for experimenting with.
It totally is. I agree. Yeah. Well, here we are now. In summary, this is what we just presented, these 7 new designs. So I hope you found something that you liked and are intrigued to try. And then just to show you kind of in summary, the possibilities here. Let's see, there it is. There's actually 12 different projects you can get out of these 7 designs because of the different weights that 2 of the patterns come in, and then because of the color block version of the rewind cardi and the hat and the blanket and of course the slippers. So 12 different projects that you can get out of this this collection of 7 designs. And we also have a project bag and make that you might be interested in. Several of our stockists carry this, and we also have them for sale on the website. And here we have another yarn ball for you to count. So make sure you count that one. Oh, and make sure you count this one too, right here. So we just thought we'd look ahead now, Becky, right, to just say what's coming. And this is really more where yours and my head is at these days, because we are, well, actually, we finished everything for spring, summer 24.
Yeah,
we're so excited about it. It really is beautiful. We have a collection series that's been ongoing called the Almanac series, and this year we're in our 3rd series, and so the spring summer will be the second half of that. And it's actually, it's going to be our last almanac series. We're moving on to other topics. So for autumn, winter 24, 25, it'll be something totally different. We also have some more and make designs in the work for spring, summer and make DK. That's our lightest weight, the one that has linen in the blend. And we're thrilled about that collection. Here comes my frog. And then we have a special collection in Luma that are 5 designs that came out beautifully. So we are excited about that. And where we are right now is we're at the point we're going to put up the poll. So, and after we do the poll and you get a chance to submit your answers, we're then going to look at some of the questions that have come up and just make sure we get your questions answered. So let me first go, and I think I need to stop my share, don't I? Or let me find this poll. Where did it go? Oh, no, I don't. Here's the poll. Let me launch the poll. Okay, the poll is launched, everybody. Please make sure your pop-ups are off so you can see it. How many yarn balls did you count? Hopefully those that I helped you count got you there to the correct answer. We're going to leave this open for a little bit. Becky, how's your throat? You're all right. Okay.
It keeps coming back every time I try to talk.
I know at this point is, but I think
I'll get much out.
I think I've got mine under control, so we can keep going here and be ready to answer some questions. But so I hope you found things that you liked. You know, I know every time I look at it, I find things that I like, and I think the hat, I think the Jagged Ridge beanie is the hat that I'll make for both of us this year, because we're overdue a hat, and slippers. Yeah, I think I can fit those in my schedule. But yeah, let us know what you liked, and I know you've all been putting this in the chat already. I've been seeing this, and you know, oh, somebody got so excited they put the wrong button in. Oh no, that's awful. Well, better luck next time. Okay, well, yeah, we've gotten a lot of nice comments here about the collection and how wearable it is, and you know, everybody's kind of seeing the possibilities for those gifts, which is great. And we had that in mind, didn't we? Early days, Becky, when we talked about it, we said it's really a perfect range of yarn for that sort of thing. So, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll because I haven't seen a new answer come in for a little bit yet. So that's it. The poll's over, and I can tell you that the correct count was 11. So hopefully you counted 11, and you'll be entered if you did, and you put that in. We've collected your email address as you registered, and that will show up in the poll results, and we will put that in a random number generator for anybody who got the correct answer. And if you win, you'll be notified. So thanks for playing along. It's fun. We really, really enjoy having you here. Let's see what questions we have.
Yes.
All right. So, oh, Becky, one came in on the blanket with a question on the edging.
Yes, I see that. Yeah, so it's a slip stitch edging. I recently just found that, and we also used it in the Hair Necessities headband.
Yes.
To keep the edging then. So that was the first time I came across it. And it's a D-stitch technique, it's called. So you, on the very, very first row, you purl one, you go to the end, and I think you knit right to the end on the first row. You do 4 rows of a setup anyway. And then you end up, you're just slipping, you're doing a slip stitch at either end. But there's a kind of nifty little stitch you do where you pick up like a bar from the stitch below when you come to the end. So it just, it gives a kind of closed slip stitch finish. And it's a bit neater than just doing a slip stitch on its own. So we've created a tutorial for that. And
it ends up being sturdier then, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's sturdier. Yeah, because it's just a bit closed finish, so it's more sturdier. It's a bit more supportive. So it frames the blanket properly, you know, to get that really good square blanket shape. So we've got a tutorial for that, and it's also just explained in a bit more detail in the pattern as well. So yeah, if I made it sound complicated, it's not. It's really, I use it all the time now whenever I'm knitting anything to get that really nice edging.
Yeah, I really like it because I know slip stitch edges. I always slip the edges on anything I make just to have a nice clean edge for seaming or
Yeah.
for swatching, whatever. But these are really good. But sometimes those slipped edges can just be like a little bit loose and maybe a little bit catchy. So these are really clever for on a blanket and for those hairbands that we did, because they get a lot of use in the edges and it just makes them sturdier. And yeah, that's good. All right, well, let's see, there's another question here. In a previous and make podcast, you mentioned the possibility of a fingering weight yarn and make line. Is that still in the works? All kinds of things are in the works. You should see all the things in the works. There is no shortage of ideas, but yes, we would like to have a fingering weight version. If you have like particular opinions or thoughts on what fiber blends you'd love to see in a fingering weight version of and make, do let us know. I love the idea of having a fingering weight version in the range, in the and make range. So, and we do have a few. Kind of our development process around here is we collect ideas, and we knit with things that we see that we like, either ideas that we say submit to the mills or the mills submit to us, and we play around and we think, oh, we like this, but we'd like it to be potentially a different twist or spin or weight, something about it. And then sometimes we sit on things for a couple of years before it's the right time to bring it out, but lots of things in the works. So yeah, stay with us here. Well, there's another question on the trail finder hat. Does that get sewn to the inside? The trail finder cowl, maybe? Oops, Becky, you're on mute. Oh, Becky, you're on mute.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're all right.
Apologies, technical things. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's trail finder cowl or the
cowl. Yes.
Yeah, the cowl's seamless in the round, so there's no sewing there.
Great. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. Good. Those are the only questions I see in the Q&A. And I mean, for once, really, we haven't run over on time. That's really good. And I don't know if there are any more questions or if anything's come through the chat, or if anybody wants to throw one in at the last minute kind of approach to getting your questions answered. I'd be happy to answer any other questions. But oh, I can see here that Kari-Helene Rane, it was the designer of the trail finder cowl, is also on the webinar today. So thanks for joining us, Kari-Helene. It's great to kind of maybe not see you, but know that you've been here seeing us and seeing your beautiful design, more importantly. So thanks for good work. And I know Holli was on the call as well. Thank you, Holli, for joining us, and for everyone for joining us. I don't know if you have any parting words, Becky, that you wanted to share about the collection, or encourage anybody to
yeah, just when you were saying about everybody joining us, I don't know if any of our lovely sample knitters are joining us, but they usually are. And yeah, with and make, because we had so many different colors and everything like that, we did get our sample knitters done an amazing job on the color block cardi and the rainbow length throw and the winter walkway different sets. So hi to any of our sample knitters that are out there as well.
Yeah, we do have some really great samples.
Oh, Lynn's there. Hi, Lynn. Lynn done the blanket, Lynn done the rainbow length throw and the headbands and neck warmers. So I was wondering if she was around.
Wow, there she is. Hi, Lynn. Great to have you with us, and thanks for all the good knitting you do for us, and thanks everybody for all the good knitting and creative projects that you make with the Fibre Co yarns. I don't have anything else to add, Becky. If you don't, well, I'll just say thanks to everybody for spending this hour with us. We really appreciate your time. It'll be recorded, so you could share it with a friend if you'd like. We'll send that recording out. And yeah, happy fall. We're really glad to be here at this time of year. Sweater weather and knitting.
I know, can't wait.
Yeah, this is our season as woolly types. We are, this is it. This is what we live for. So Jillian says, thanks for sharing this. Can't wait to start a new project. Lots of great comments here from everyone. So thank you so much for your feedback. We're always open to hearing more. If you have any, send it our way. But for now, we'll just say happy fall, happy autumn, however you refer to the season. And of course, many, many, many happy knitting projects ahead. So thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Bye, Becky.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.